I need it right now. I'm sipping right now. I'm tripping right now. I'm hitting right now. I'm booted right now. She booted right now. We get it right now. The party is packed out. Tell him turn the lights down. My diamonds the lights now.
What's up, y'all? What's Goodie? Goodie, it's your girl Zeze, back with another motherfucking video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, get a joint thumbs up, share this motherfucker, all this shit, you feel me? So, today's video is going to be about the fall of black ownership. Wait, is this shirt too small for me? Oh, I feel like this shirt might be. I don't know, I got this shit out of Mary's closet. Shit look like a fucking kid's shirt. It's a little tight around the arms. You know what? We're gonna make it work. Alright, anyways. But, yeah, so today's video is gonna be about the fall of black ownership. I wanted to talk about this, especially in light of the whole Jay-Z situation that's going on. I'm pretty sure everybody's heard about this. I did a whole live about it if y'all want to hear my exact thoughts on that whole situation. But yeah, basically Jay-Z did a deal with the NFL, and he's going to be like producing all the new all the games, and you know, have hand in like picking the halftime show artists, all this other shit. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, a lot of people was upset about this basically because they felt like he was a hypocrite because he sort of supported Cap, and Cap doesn't have a job, and now, you know what I'm saying, it's just messy. So yeah, but I thought this was a great way to segue into black ownership, because one of the main points I made inside my live about this whole situation is that instead of Jay-Z doing a deal with the NFL, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of people who's taking up for him is like, oh well, we got a seat at the table, you know what I'm saying, we have a voice now, Jay-Z is going to be our voice, Jay-Z might have a hand in bringing Cap back on somebody's team, on da-da-da, you know what I'm saying, like he has a chance to make a change, he has a chance to infiltrate and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying. A lot of people was using the argument, and honestly, I just think that's some bullshit, to be honest. Like, I'm sorry, it just makes some bullshit. Like, this whole seat at the table argument people are using, it's just like, y'all, a seat at the table don't mean nothing if you don't own the fucking table. It doesn't. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's meaningless. If you don't have the power to control the outcome of the conversation at the table, it means nothing. Your voice means nothing. So yeah, him being a part of the NFL now, or having some minute part in the NFL as far as production goes, is not going to help us as a community. Neither, really, I don't think it's going to help Cap. And like I said this in the video, if it does help Cap, it's not because of Jay-Z, it's because they already discussed that, and Jay-Z is just a pawn in the chess move they had already planned to make. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I don't think it's going to help Cap, and I know it's not going to help us as far as black people in any type of way. But yeah, like I was saying, instead of him going to the NFL and doing this whole producing deal with them, he could have just started his own NFL, like literally, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, doesn't take that much money to do, and he has way more than enough money to actually do it on his own. But even if he didn't do it on his own, he could have got some other investors, some other people who knows to come together and make it happen. And then he could have signed Cap his dad or something. Maybe he wouldn't have gave him as much money, but shoot, I'm pretty sure he would have been happy just to have a job. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could have done it on his own rather than trying to go get a seat at somebody else's table. He could have done it right there on his own and created his own damn table. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I say this is a part of the fall of black ownership. Now, I don't want to negate, you know, the fact that black people at one time, we did own a lot of things, you know, Black Wall Street. There was a bunch of, not only do people think of Black Wall Street and just think of one, there were actually multiple places where black economic systems were growing. It was one of the reasons why white people decided to destroy it. So black people was on this ownership wave for a little minute before, you know, a lot of us got discouraged because white people coming and destroying our stuff. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us felt like when it was time to integrate, we should just go to their companies, try to make it to the top of their companies, just to, you know what I'm saying, to have a more sense of security because we're under them now. You know what I'm saying? We're making not only ourselves money, but them money. So back then, it felt more secure for some black people to do that rather than just starting their own business and risking somebody coming to destroy it. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand that. But that mentality definitely destroyed a lot of our ownership. And it's funny because someone recently asked me to do a video on, was Jackie Robinson a sellout, or was he someone who was for the culture, someone who was for black progression? You know what I'm saying? And they only asked me this because some people do consider Jackie Robinson a sellout, even though I'm not gonna say and call him a sellout. That man is dead. R.I.P. I didn't know a lot about him. I still don't know a whole lot about him and what he, you know what I'm saying, what his values and views was. But I'm not going to sit up here and call him a sellout or cool. Even though I've heard other pro-blacks call him that. And that's because some of his political views, which I've read some about on, and some of the decisions he's made, some people just don't feel like he was pro. Some people just feel like he was a sellout or a coon. You know what I'm saying? And that's not why I would even argue that, even if I was going to call him a sellout. I don't, like I said, I'm not going to call him that. But I will say I don't agree with everything he did. And one of the things I don't agree with was him going to the major leagues. You know what I'm saying? Even though, of course, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, he did great things in the major leagues. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was shit on a lot of them white players. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot for up-and-coming black athletes as well. He, like, created a path for them. So, I can understand that. But the thing is, what if he didn't ever play in the major leagues? What if he were to stay exactly where he was? And I say this because before he went to the major leagues, between like 1888 to like 1946, I think, there was this era called the black ball era. And this was because all of the black baseball players were banned from playing in any of the major league games. Before then, there was like a handful of major league baseball players, but from 1888 to 1946, they were all banned. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of them was banned. It was whole record. You know, segregation, Jim Crow, all of that was going on around this time. So they were banned from playing inside any of the major league sports. So while this was going on, instead of black ball players just saying, you know what, we just gonna wait, or we're gonna protest, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna try to get back into games, you know, stuff like that. Instead of them trying to get into games or anything like that, they say, you know what, fuck them games. See, like, fuck them games. We about to do our own games. And they literally created a whole Negro baseball league. Like, this was a whole thing. There were like many teams all across the country with only black baseball players. There was a lot. Like, and I've heard this before, but I didn't even realize how many fucking teams. Like, there were a lot of fucking teams of black baseball players, and they would literally go on like tours throughout the country. Like, some of these teams were going through tours throughout the country, and of course, like, they weren't funded as well as the major leagues. So then, you know what I'm saying, the players weren't paid as much. In the early games, a lot of players were like free agents, so they would like switch teams just depending on which team was paying them the most to play in that game. You know what I'm saying? And then you had little things like when they was on tour buses, some of the tour buses were not, you know what I'm saying, would break down to some cities. They were staying in, like, you know, low-rated hotels, like, you know what I'm saying, like, they were going through some struggles. But instead of them putting that energy into and trying to get back into the major leagues, they put it into just creating their own, and it was very well supported. Like, a lot of black people went to these games and supported the Negro baseball leagues. And not only that, like, a lot of these players were better than the players in the major league, than the white players inside the major league. As a matter of fact, at the end of their season, the major league seasons, they would play against the Negro baseball teams, and a lot of times, the Negro baseball teams would win. Like, these niggas was really, like, doing it. Like, they was really good. They were really great. Matter of fact, a lot of the best baseball players came out of, black baseball players, should I say, came out of the Negro Baseball League and were drafted into the major leagues. Like, really, you know what I'm saying? So they were really, like, really good players. Honestly, some people argue that the Negro Baseball League had literally the best players. Like, honestly, they were better than anybody in the major leagues. A lot of people argue that. So they were doing very well, is my point. And even in that movie, 42, that was about Jackie Robinson. That was like about basically his whole career going into leaving the, matter of fact, it was about him leaving the Negro Baseball Leagues, being drafted into the major leagues. And basically, one of the things in that movie was about sacrifice. Was about, you know what I'm saying, sacrificing your ego, sacrificing your pride, you know. Like, one of the lines in the movie, the white dude who gets him to draft is like, I need someone who's willing to fight, you know, basically, you know what I'm saying, just giving this motivational ass speech, like, look, you're gonna be going through it when you join these leagues, but it's gonna be worth it at the end, you know what I'm saying, type shit. And so he was saying he needs somebody that's willing to go through all that. And throughout the movie, when they're showing him in the major leagues, and this is like real stuff that happened, like really was worse. As a matter of fact, I read somewhere that he was hit like almost 72. Was it 72 or 77? I think it was 101. But over 70 times with a ball in the head. Like people, these pitchers was literally throwing balls. These racist ass white pitchers was throwing balls at this man's head. Like, and then people from the stands was throwing stuff at him. Yelling racial slurs at him. His teammates didn't really like him. No other teams liked him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just went through it. Like, he really went through it. You know what I'm saying? And they tried to, you know what I'm saying, glorify that aspect. Like, oh, he was so strong. He was so disciplined to have to go through all this and still play the game and still do the best he could. And, you know what I'm saying, even though nobody supported him, he went against the odds. And, you know what I'm saying, it made that sacrifice for the rest of the black athletes. What it's like, why did you make that sacrifice, Jackie? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I could meet him. You know what I'm saying? I wish he was still alive so I could just talk to him about that. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's older, he will be much older now. You know what I'm saying? And so his mentality is a little bit different anyways. You know what I'm saying? So he might have had a different perspective on it. But it's like, why didn't you use that energy, that sacrificial energy towards the Negro baseball leagues? Imagine had you just stayed with them, not got paid as much for a little while longer, stayed in those bad hotels for a little while longer, you got on that broken down ass bus for a little while longer, you know what I'm saying? Like, just kept that sacrificial energy. And all of the players, not just Jackie, but all of the players who drafted, just kept that energy for the Negro baseball leagues. Imagine where it would be right now. Can you even imagine how big it would be, especially with them having the best players? Like I said, there might not even be a national baseball league. There might not even be one of those. So nobody, even if it was, it might not even be as big as the Negro baseball league it is today. Like, literally, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't even imagine it. Like, it could be huge right now, literally. You know what I'm saying? It could have some of the best players in the league, like right now. We could really have our own baseball league right now. Like, they could have been here for a while. You know what I'm saying? That's been established. Like, literally black owned, black ran, and black played. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be so amazing to have that right now had they kept to it and stuck to just that league. And so, yeah, that's kind of the point that I want to get to here, is that just because the grass looks greener right now on the other side doesn't mean that it's the best choice to go over there just because it looks like it is right now. You know what I'm saying? Let me use a different analogy. Let me use a better analogy. What's a better analogy that he uses? Just because somebody is on, this ain't even an analogy, but just because someone is offering you something doesn't mean you have to take it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you should just keep what you have and watch it grow. Like, literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that applies to the Jay-Z situation that's going on now. You know what I'm saying? Just because they offered him a deal doesn't mean he had to take it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Cap now. Even if they offer Cap a deal now, even though I know he wants to still play and things like, and you know what I'm saying, and keep his job, and because he likes to play football and stuff like that. At least I think he still wants to play. I don't know if he actually still does, but I'm pretty sure he still does wants to play. But you know, it doesn't mean that he should. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Cap can do it. Cap might be able to get with some old teammates or something like that. Some people he noticed in the industry, whatever the case may be, and put together his own team himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cap may be able to do it. So it's just crazy that these players and these black people nowadays, a lot of us aren't trained or taught to have that discipline of just sticking to what we have and investing all of what we have into it. But I don't know, y'all. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments, man. Do you think the whole Jay-Z deal was okay? Do you think we need to start our own NFL? Do you think that Jackie Robinson was a sellout? Y'all just let me know what y'all thoughts it was. What the fuck going on? Y'all let me know your thoughts below. Other than that, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, get us on the thumbs up, share this motherfucker. All that shit, you feel me? So, other than that, that's all I got. Alright, y'all.
Nice to meet you. She said I'm chosen, nigga, I'm chosen. Think I'm mischosen. Them niggas folding. Them niggas folding. Why they be playing with us like we not the chosen ones? She loves me 'cause I'm the chosen one. Why they be playing with us? We're not the chosen ones. Why they be playing with us?